Hey everybody, welcome. This is Mazarine Trays of Wildwood Fundraising, and I'm really excited to introduce you to Bruce Burtch, who's the author of Win-Win for the Greater Good, and he has done some incredible campaigns through his life for cause marketing. He's called the father of cause marketing, and he got one of the first cause marketing partnerships back in the 70s. So in this interview, I'm going to be sharing with you ways that you can get from a $500 sponsorship to an over six-figure partnership with a government or corporation. And after the video, we're going to invite you to come to the Nonprofit Leadership Summit where Bruce will be speaking. And I really hope that you enjoy the video and that you stick around for the end. Welcome. This is Mazarine Trays of Wildwood Fundraising, and I am so happy today to have on screen here for the first time Bruce Burtch, author of Win-Win for the Greater Good, which is an excellent book. And Bruce, would you like to tell us why you're such an expert at public-private partnerships?
Well, thank you for that great compliment, Mazarine. It's so nice to see you, literally. I fell into this. In 1975, I was with Marriott Corporation, and I was told we were opening up this big amusement park and a hotel in Santa Clara, California. And I was told by the people in Washington, D.C., that this is how you do an opening of this operation. But they'd never done anything like this before. So I'm a 25-year-old kid at the time, and I said, no, I don't want to do it that way. And so I formed a partnership with Burtch and I said, what do you need? And they told me. And they said, what do you need? And I said, I'm opening this big amusement park and hotel, and I need to get a lot of people in there. And the long story short is we formed a true partnership. And at the end of that, Marriott had broken all records for a regionally marketed theme park. But March of Dimes raised $2.5 million in 1976 when we executed the campaign. And it was 40% more money than the March of Dimes had ever raised in a campaign in their history. So like we stood back from that and said, okay, why did this work so well? And it was because we did certain things. We were very honest. We were very transparent. And we came up with how can I work to have my business, Marriott, help your business, March of Dimes, and how can your business, March of Dimes, help my business at Marriott? So we really went into this like that. And that has been called the first cause marketing program in history by the Cause Marketing Forum, which is now called Engage for Good. I like their new name. So I stood back from that and said, why did that really work so well? And as I just said, it's because we did these things in open, honest, transparent partnership. And I've then done that throughout my career. I was with the Olympic Committee. I've run 2 agencies. I was marketing director for the American Red Cross in the Bay Area. But the thread that's run through all my work is building these cross-sector partnerships, which is nonprofit, for-profit, education, and government, any combination of 2 or more. And I've done partnerships with all 4 together in one partnership. And so the cause marketing business grew from that one program in 1976 to be a multi-billion-dollar annual program. Some do it very, very well. Some don't do it very well. But anyway, so to answer your question directly, I tend to talk a lot, is that win-win for the greater good is what it's all about. You have the nonprofit and the for-profit, but you have to work together, but it has to have a cause. It has to have a bigger mission behind it, in my opinion. So it's really about not just what I can get and not just what you can get, but what can we get together that helps somebody else, in this case, the greater good. So I wrote the book to be a step-by-step process on 43 years of having done this on regional, national, and international scale. And the book is meant to be a guidebook. And needless to say, I'm thrilled that it's been reviewed by the president of Starbucks, the president of a lot of people in major organizations, and it's being used by hundreds and probably thousands of organizations around the world. So that's the thrill for me, is knowing that my work is able to create programs that people can follow and affect millions of other people. So long way of saying that's why I wrote the book.
I feel like we have the same goal, and I love that. I
Yes.
love that. So Bruce, I want to talk a little bit more topically now about
Please.
what effects are you seeing right now on nonprofits in this economic climate?
Well, it's getting better as far as the economics as we know, but the for-profit world really changed their direction. And I'm kind of generally speaking. And they started saying, it's not just that you want to give me money, but what can you do to support my business objectives? And the bottom line of that is if you're not providing benefit to me in being the corporate side, then why would I want to work with you? Because there's a very large line of people around my building saying, I need money for whatever the cause is. And so the for-profit businesses are really changing their philosophy. And I see this all over the country, but a local company here in Marin County, California, Autodesk, which is a worldwide multi-billion dollar 3D architectural software company. They basically have changed all of their funding that if you're not in partnership with Autodesk, don't even knock on the door. So I think that's the biggest change. It also provides, and we can talk about this, tremendous opportunity for nonprofits that understand this sort of sea change that's been going on over the past several years.
Fascinating. When I talk about sponsorships in my sponsorship presentations, people say, wow, this is such a weird concept, that I have to give them something too,
Yeah. Well, let me just interject. I was presenting, I won't mention the place, but there were 400 nonprofit executives in the room, and I'm doing this presentation to them. And when I got to the part about that it's a win-win development process, I watched the eyes of these 400 people literally almost close because they went, oh my gosh, I've got so much on my plate now. Now you want me to work. Like, Joe from Selfish Giving said, Bruce, you should have named your book Work for the Greater Good. Because it is work. It is work, but
yes.
It's work that can create so many benefits, so many different benefits, but it is work.
No, it absolutely is. And we're going to get to what those benefits are later on. Funding is being cut for Meals on Wheels, for the environment, healthcare. We don't even know what's going on. There's so many things happening there. And there's also a federal hiring freeze, and so on. And that's going to affect the combined federal campaign. So what are you seeing nonprofits do to cope with these changes?
Well, first is an attitudinal sort of positioning. Don't get overwhelmed by this. Look for advantages. How do I make my nonprofits stand out amongst the clutter and amongst the just flat out competition that's happening? Because you're right, all those things, even though they sort of started in 2008 when the recession, they're still going. Even though corporations are doing really, really well now, generally speaking, but their philosophy about giving has changed. So to me, it is the nonprofit stepping back and saying, how do I make my organization stand out to a for-profit or an education or a government entity that they want to partner with? And there are many ways they can do that. But the very first thing is they have to decide, I'm going to have to approach this whole area of funding or of sponsorship differently. And the differently is what I call a business value proposition. I have to provide that potential partner, in this case, let's say a for-profit partner, with something that they will see as benefiting their organization. And so when you approach it that way, and we can talk specifics about what I mean by that, they don't see this very often. They see a lot of people walking up to their door and saying, I need money. I have homeless people. I have children with diseases. I have the myriad causes, if you will, that are out there. What they rarely see is when a nonprofit comes up and says, by working with my nonprofit, I can help your business objectives. And they're going to stop and go, because I've seen this happen so many times. Really? You can help me? I was just trying to be a good community partner, a good community citizen. And we're going, I know, but we can really help you. And it's a game changer, absolute game changer.
Mm, I love that. So that's really something you'd suggest coping with, is just changing your mindset, shifting that. And then so this is kind of a leading question because we all know what you focus on, but what would you suggest a nonprofit leader focus on in these times of upheaval and change?
First of all, focus on their core competency. When I was with the Red Cross, we would be, and I know everyone listening and watching this or is in this situation, you have a potential funder and they want to sometimes pull you off. This happens a lot with foundations or maybe corporate foundations. They want to, in many cases, not always, pull you off in a certain direction that's not totally in line with your core competency. And so you're going, oh, but I need the money. They're offering me $5,000 or they're offering me $105,000. Doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. And they're saying, but if you will do this, then we'll give you the money. And you're going, well, we need money for our general mission. But many people have made the mistake of being pulled off their mission. And let me give you a perfect example of that. So when I was marketing director for the American Red Cross, we would have people come to us and say, because it was such a known brand, and this was right after Katrina too, people would come to us and they would say, we would like to work with the Red Cross, but we would like to work with you over in this direction. And we would say, well, we're going to have to staff that direction. We're going to, or pull people from our staff to that direction. And then we have to manage them. And then what happens in a year or two when your funding goes away and we've set this thing up over here that isn't our core strengths and our core competency. So we were pretty smart. We said, thank you. We appreciate your offer. Not interested.
Right.
Then what happened was Pacific Gas and Electric learned from the Loma Prieta earthquake in San Francisco and the whole Bay Area that there were a lot of things that people could have done to prepare for an earthquake that they weren't doing. So they had a very business strategic need to prepare Bay Area. Red Cross had tremendous information and even supplies to prepare a home or a business or your car or whatever to have earthquake supplies, earthquake understanding, information about how to prepare your home. So we had all the content. They had the need. So these two missions were, and this is a huge word in our world here, we were aligned in what we needed to get done. We were aligned that we wanted to prepare the Bay Area in case of not just an earthquake, but any kind of disaster, a bio disaster, anything, a water level, anything, tsunami in San Francisco, potentially. And so I directed a program with my great team called Prepare Bay Area. And we went out and we gave lectures and right in the middle of downtown San Francisco, we developed a training program. And we did some really crazy things to grab attention, such as we made a 60-foot decal and we took San Francisco's very well-known Union Square. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, we put a 60-foot decal across the main part of the Union Square that looked like Union Square had been broken in half. It was a 10-foot wide, 60-foot long, and it visually looked like that there had been an earthquake overnight. And we even put, police stanchions around it. And so people came on and they saw the police stanchions. We got a picture of a little girl leaning into what looked like a crack and her dad's holding her by her pants so she didn't fall into it. It was hysterical. But the point was we had to grab people's attention through this campaign. And the name of the campaign to us internally was, what do we have to do to get your attention? Because everyone knows about earthquakes or the concern of it, but they weren't doing anything about it. And then we took the media and we put them up on top of a building shooting down on Union Square, and it looked just like Union Square had been cracked in half. Well, the picture went all over the world. It was a social media explosion. But the message was this could happen. But whenever you want to kind of shake people up, no pun intended, but you also want to educate them. And so along with the crack, and we did a whole lot of other things, we would have training sessions right there on the site by the Red Cross. So it's a long way of saying that when you align your missions, when you find a partner that needs what you have and you need what they have, and what they did, they gave us $1 million broken up into 3 payments over 3 years. And with that money, we were able to hire, going back to kind of the original question here, to hire 3 people that work specifically on, well, 2 people work specifically on that campaign, plus my marketing staff of 7. So we had 9 people that were being paid to develop the Prepare Bay Area campaign, but it was directly within the mission of the Red Cross. Had PG&E come by and said, we want to give you $1 million, but we want you to go out and do whatever that was not along our mission, that's a lot of money, but we would have said no. It would change what we do as an organization. So that's what people have to be aware of. Don't be pulled away by that bright, shiny object of a lot of money in a suitcase. Keep your mission focused.
That's very important to understand, Bruce. When I worked at the Urban League, after I left, there was a grant for the anti-obesity campaign that Michelle Obama was running, and they went for it. You know, they went for it, and it was completely off mission. Of course, they're not doing anything with it now. Yeah. So, yeah.
Don't chase the money if it's the wrong mission. Because
and what I'm hearing you say, it's not just about giving the corporation access to your donors.
Oh, yeah.
It's really, you have somewhere to offer if you can align and focus on those partnerships that have to do with your programs.
Absolutely. And, you know, your donor base is sacred. We would never give out our mailing list. I never even gave out our media list. So whenever someone wanted to partner with us, we would control the media release because I didn't want to even give out because there was a value to what we had developed in the relationships with the media. So I didn't want someone to go out and say, we're working with the Red Cross here, Channel 7, ABC is a story. We would say, no, we have great relationships with ABC. So we will take the message we together develop and we will disseminate it out through the media. But when it comes to money, yeah, we didn't let anyone touch our donor base. That was sacrosanct.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's what these big corporations who come to nonprofits sometimes want access to, or even smaller ones. And that's something that we need to protect and think, is there a creative way? Like what you said, so creative. Yeah. That
was a little off the chart.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
So what's a good first step then for a nonprofit that wants to focus more on these cross-sector partnerships?
Find an organization that is within your marketing region. So it has to make sense, whether it's in your town or within your greater area or within your state, but within a region that you can really work together on. Don't get too far out. And find an organization that's aligned with your mission. So for instance, Barefoot Wines set up a program several years ago with the Windsurfer Foundation. I think I may have said the wrong name, but so here's this foundation that works on cleaning up beaches, and Barefoot Wines wanted to sell their wine. So they got their volunteers from Barefoot Surfrider Foundation. So they got their people that worked at their wineries and their stores to come over and work with the employees of Surfrider Foundation to clean up beaches. And then at the end, they had a big party where they obviously served their barefoot wines. But you're walking barefoot on a beach. So the alignment between beaches, barefoot wine, Surfrider Foundation, that's alignment. So several years ago, there was a program between the Susan G. Komen Foundation and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, this is
notorious KFC.
I'm sorry, it was horrible. So you have them selling buckets of fried chicken breasts, okay, to support a breast cancer research foundation. And these are fried chicken carcinogenic foods that have, the research has said that.
Yeah.
And so when they were interviewed, the Kentucky Fried Chicken people said, well, we really wanted to help, the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Yeah, that's a good cause. wrong alignment. And when they asked the then president of the Komen Foundation, why did you do it? It was because it was the largest potential single donation in their history. So it was all about money. It was all about misalignment. And it got panned by the media, certainly everybody that was in the cause marketing business. It was a just totally inappropriate partnership, in our opinion. So my opinion, a lot of people's opinion.
No, I remember that.
So
that was a nightmare.
Alignment is the very first thing. Look for something in your marketing region that's aligned. And then the third step is to really research that potential partner. Read their corporate annual report, either online or get a copy of it. Do a Google search and find out what press releases they're sending out. A lot of times in the annual report, the CEO will say, this is what our objectives are for 2018. If you read that and say that one of their corporate objectives is to expand into something that's even near what your organization does, there's an open door. And so you start looking at research to find out what are their business objectives. So when you go to that meeting, you're going into the meeting understanding what they have as business objectives, and you've done an assessment. When I had my clients, whatever side, I've worked for all four sides, we would do an assessment. What do you need? What are you looking for? What do you bring to the party? And so you do this assessment. So when you go to that first meeting, you know that that person, let's say it was PG&E, really wants to spread word about earthquake preparedness. You come in with a list of things that says, here's what we can do to help you do that. And the other thing I've got to add right here, don't ask for money. Think about that. Everyone's probably going, like you just did, they shake your head. What do you mean? I'm here to get money. Well, they know you're here to get money. Don't ask for money. Go in and say, how can my organization, working with your organization, meet our mutual objectives? Now that will include money. PG&E knew we'd need money to hire those two people and run this campaign. We didn't go in and say we need $1 million. We went in and said, how do we work together? So one of the biggest mistakes I've seen, and it happens constantly, they walk in and say, we need $10,000. Well, I know you need $10,000. What are you going to do for me? So that's a whole different approach. And when you don't ask them for money, you know what they do? They're sitting there wondering, why aren't they asking me for money? So it's like in the back of their head. And I had this happen with Autodesk. I won't tell you the whole story. But basically, we went in and for half an hour, our team, for a program called Art from the Heart, sat there and told them about all the cool things that Autodesk employees could do because they were a creative team if they worked with Art from Heart. We never asked them for any money. And so at the end, they said, well, what's your annual budget? And it was a small organization. They said $12,000 because it was two women that were bringing art into schools. And they said, well, first of all, they give first time out $500 to $1,500 first time out. They gave them $5,000. And
half their annual budget.
Half of their annual budget, or 40% of it. Everyone's looking at each other like, how did that happen? Well, because you didn't ask them for money. You told them what you could do for them. They didn't even throw a number out. They just said, well, we'll give you $5,000. The lady that, a friend of mine, Julie Wilder, was running the program at the time. She's sitting in the back, and I'm sitting in the back. So we let our two organizations talk to each other. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and we're like, wow. You know, she was like shocked. I was like thrilled. We never asked for money. No,
well, you think about it. You have these sponsorship bands or levels or whatever, and you're talking yourself out of money if you just start there, you know?
Well, because that's all they hear.
Yeah.
And the mantra is, they know you need money. Don't ask for it. Don't ask for it. And that's a hard pill to get some people to swallow because they do need money. But
that's so fascinating. That's so fascinating.
But the book, not to plug my book, by the way, it's free on Amazon.com not on Amazon, excuse me, I misspoke. If you go to my website, bruceburtch.com, you can get the book for free. I mean, I want to give
the ebook.
Ebook, yes, thank you. Yeah. Ebook for free, thank you. Yeah. But the point is, there are simple ways that any nonprofit, small to American Red Cross, big, or I used to work as I was PR director for the United States Olympic Committee, big organizations can use these same principles: alignment, strategy, business value proposition. Don't ask for money
Fascinating.
at first.
Right. Obviously, you will eventually.
Yes.
So, Bruce, you've already taught us so much. What will you be teaching at the Nonprofit Leadership Summit this September?
Oh, that's it. You've heard it all.
Okay, all right. Never mind. Don't have to come to that then.
No, I'm really excited about the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. I'm just so thrilled that you're putting it together. I'm sorry I wasn't able to do it last year. We're going to talk about this area of how you ignite your social and your economic benefit through cross-sector partnerships. So cause marketing is a subset of cross-sector partnerships, because cause marketing is really about a for-profit and a nonprofit working together for their mutual benefit, but it's really about money. They're trying to sell more Coca-Cola, and they're trying to get more donations to the nonprofit. And that's a good thing. Cause marketing obviously is a good thing. A cross-sector partnership can provide up to 40 benefits to your nonprofit or to your for-profit. So cross-sector partnerships bring a lot more to the plate than just cause marketing. So we're going to talk about the difference. We're going to talk about how do you assess what you have? How do you find out what they have? Because you think, well, how am I supposed to find out their business objectives? Well, one key is you might know someone, either one of your donors, one of your employees, a friend of an employee, a friend of a donor who works for that organization. And so you call them up and you say, Susan, we're thinking about approaching your company. Have you ever thought about, has your company ever done whatever that X is? And somebody in there may go, oh yeah, we've actually talked about it. So there's a lot of ways to find research. So we're going to talk about how, and it's a big one. We talked about alignment. We're going to bring that up. Which door do you open? That's key. And I'm not going to tell you now. But what door do you open at a corporation that has the most benefits and in money? And the only hint I'm going to say is it's not their foundation. People go, oh, I got to go to the foundation. That's where the money is. We will show where there is 100 times more money. 100 times more money. Different department. I'll say that.
Oh, I love that teaser. I love it.
Because you got to come to the nonprofit seminar, a summit, and you got to learn these things because, this is why she put it together. Right, Mazarine?
Right. Yeah, it's why I put it together, but also to help people, but also to help them really have access to you, Bruce, because, you're just incredible, and they need to know more about how you accomplish what you did and then how they can replicate your success. Wow. So thank you so much for being interviewed today. What a fantastic
I love it. Anything to support what you're doing, Mazarine, anything to support nonprofits in general, especially the members of the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. I'm thrilled to be a part of this.
Oh, yay. Thank you. All right. I'll see you later, Bruce. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. So that was the end of the video. I hope you liked it. And I really enjoyed interviewing Bruce Burtch. He is so knowledgeable, and I hope that you learned a lot and got excited about the possibility for you to get more incredible partnerships instead of just thinking about sponsorship bans. So if you want to learn more about what Bruce has to say, get a free copy of his book, as well as learn from 10 other people about how to fundraise more effectively and be a better leader in this coming year, then you definitely want to come to the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. So click the button below this video and think about coming out to the Nonprofit Leadership Summit. We'll have incredible speakers. You'll have all the videos way after the event ends, and you can keep asking questions of the speakers as well. It's going to be an incredible time. It's our second year. We've had so many good responses from our first year, and I can't wait to have you join us. Thank you.